Hey there and welcome. I'm Nick.
Hello, and I'm Yolande.
And we're from Inspire Tribe. And we're pretty excited to be talking to you today around the concept of mindset and what it is to look at your thinking.
There's a common belief that change your thinking, change your life.
And I love that because it's not just one aspect of your life.
Yeah, all aspects.
Finances, happiness, love, relationships. So when you shift your thinking and expand your thinking, your whole life can shift. And
we're not the only ones that say this.
No.
There's been a whole heap of people before us that
correct.
subscribe to this.
So throughout the centuries it's been said, and the key is to be able to do it in the current world. So Napoleon Hill said it in 1937 in Think and Grow Rich. What a wonderful book. I've read it numerous times. I had to read it numerous times in order to really get the message, because it's a powerful one.
It took Nick a little while to get it.
It did. We'll talk about more of that, why that was later. Then there's Tony Robbins, 1991, Awaken the Giant Within. Wonderful book. 2006, the current rave throughout the world is Carol Dweck's Mindset book, and it really talks about fixed versus growth mindset. And we're going to look at the practicalities of how you can shift your mindset from being fixed to growth and how to really understand when you're fixed. Because what we find is a lot of people like to think that they're growth when actually they're fixed.
Yeah. I think these days people are much more aware of mindset is an actual thing that holds us back. Whereas I think in the past it was either, well, you're successful or you're not successful, and you just sort of fit it into two buckets. But a lot of these books and a lot of the things that people talk about these days is, no, we're actually in control of changing the way that we think based on our mindset, and it's all up for grabs. It can all be changed.
Correct.
And that's quite exciting, and that's what we spend our days talking about.
Exactly. And you don't have to want to be super successful in order to be worrying about your mindset. You can be what many might consider to be the average Joe and just want to take your life to that next level. And if you look at your thinking, then you can change your life. I think one of my favourite books in terms of looking at some of the best thinking around the globe is Tim Ferriss's Tools of Titan. He talks to billionaires and some of the best physical and health experts in all areas of life, and he literally drills down into what is it about their thinking that's different. So these are all the techniques of thinking. But
what's the main thing he finds in that?
So the main thing that you can read, and you can read when you read the book, is that there's millions of different mindsets. You know, there's lots of different ways to think, and that's why I think the topic of mindset is so confusing, and what we're really looking forward to speaking about today is how to simplify that and work out specifically where you need to focus on your thinking in order to really shift your life.
Yeah, we've done a lot of work around mindset, and we've condensed it down to very specific things that you can do in order to shift your mindset.
Correct. Indeed, today we're going to talk about 12 logical levers and 3 very simple frameworks that you can use to change your thinking very rapidly.
Yeah. The people that come and work with us, there's a range of people. They start with entrepreneurs that are really quite driven and want to go on and achieve something, and also people that they're employed and they're in the workforce, but they're pushing hard, they're trying to get to the next level, but they're a bit tired of it.
Or they're young and ready to run hard and want to jump ahead of the pack. But
yes, yeah, okay. So there's both. They're in the corporate world and they're a bit tired, or they're starting to be in the corporate world, and they want to run hard, and they're like, how can I jump to the next level? So we work with those people.
We also work with, I guess, consultants, professionals, people who are at the top of their game and really want to keep pushing the edges of their thinking. So it's one thing to be very good in your field, it's another thing to be, a leading thinker. So if you want to be a leading thinker, you must be able to expand your mindset. And if if you felt for quite some time, I know I've got more in me, like there's more to access, then you're going to love what we talk about today. So all different types of people, all different types of challenges. What's the key point? The key point is that an individual who works with us will want change. So if you want change in your life, you're in the right spot. Keep listening now. If you're here and you're listening now, you need to be ready now to hear that the change does need to start with you, because that's what we're going to be talking about for the rest. So if you're not ready to hear that, stop. Turn it off now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're in the right place, yeah?
They're the people that we don't work with.
Correct. If you're not ready to see that you need to change, if you think your wife needs to change, your boss needs to change, your team members need to change, wrong video. Now, your background, you could have got by on your good looks and your charisma, as my lovely partner in crime here did for the first few decades of her life. Or you could have been like me and had to read up on how does the world actually work, and how is it that I need to be in order to function in this?
Nick's read a lot of books.
I have read a lot of books. So it doesn't matter whether you've been a bookworm, done a heap of personal development or done none, you're in the right place as long as you want change.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
So what are we going to do today? We're going to take you through 12 words that deliver rapid, life-changing shifts.
Yeah, and they're not random 12 words. These 12 words we have been working on for years together, and it really these 12 words have been accumulation. What's that word?
Accumulation.
Yeah, that one. Of the work that we have done to assist us to communicate better and connect and give our clients really rapid and sustainable change.
Great.
So when we say 12 words, it might sound a bit odd, but these 12 words, it's where the change happens.
So who are we? Well, I've said that I'm Nick and this is Yolande, so this is my wife. Our backgrounds are totally opposite, and this is part of what makes the work that we do so interesting. So I'm a hyperlogical mechanical engineer by background, studied personal development for 20 years, and then still had challenges in my life. So if that's you, if you've done a lot of personal development thinking, surely I should know it by now, it's okay. There is possibility yet. This one?
Well, I've always been a people person, unlike Nick. I started in hospitality, did corporate training, did sales and marketing, always was around people, always loved people, always felt that I understood people, and then went into coaching and just, I don't really know how it happened, just intuitively coach people really, really well.
Great. And that's where we met. So when we met at coaching, I'd been coached, I'd had massive life-changing shifts, and I just went, finally, after 20 years of reading personal development and knowing what I should be doing, but not being able to actually do it. Do you know, I knew what I should be doing, but the action just wasn't following. Finally, I worked with a one-on-one coach, whole life shifted, thought, I actually want to go and do that myself. I've been preparing for it, now I've actually made the shift, had an award-winning business, time to go and assist other people to do the same.
And then we met each other, and she saw me coach, and you went, I need to reverse engineer that.
Correct. Intuitively gifted coach. Could shift people. So I knew where people should go to and what would help them see them feeling better in life and doing better and what thinking they needed to shift. But Yolande was a person who could get them to shift their thinking, and it was just astounding to watch her. And for a very...
I just came in and talked to people and...
in her very random, chaotic way.
And said some stuff and kind of connected with them, and they'd pop out the other side. About 90% of the time, they'd pop out the other side. Amazing.
And so that's what we've reverse engineered. And it might sound a little complex, but 12 words, it's not that complex. The trick is to know what the 12 words are and how they interrelate. That's what Yolande was, I guess, chaotically and randomly doing so beautifully. So some of her sessions were amazing, and occasionally he'd come out and go, I don't know what happened there. So I'm like, we need to systemize that. If you can't get it right all the time, you won't be able to teach me. Yeah. So we've got it into a system. It's not a tight system, but it's a good framework. And once you've got a framework, you can start to flow through the thinking framework. I'd like to talk about one other unique aspect of the Yolande and Nick team.
Yes.
We were both married to men. So I had a lovely guy called Joel, my husband. We were together for 18 years.
Yeah. And 16 years.
16 years. When I met Yolande, I must confess, it was love at first sight. And within a year, unfortunately for our old partners, those marriages had dissolved and we had come together. So that's a very unique point and a bit of a random thing apparently for me to be discussing now, but it makes the work that we do particularly insightful and particularly sharp.
Well, I feel like saying, can you guess why? Nick, you can explain it so much better than me.
Okay, so the reason is I have been a wife and now I have a wife. So it is obviously a gay relationship, but in a gay relationship there's a masculine and feminine energy, and I'm the masculine energy and my wife is the feminine energy.
Most of the time.
Correct. So in most relationships, there's a masculine energy and a feminine energy, and it's not actually related to the sex. So you could be a male and the feminine energy in a relationship, but let's just keep it generic, sort of stereotypical for simplicity's sake. When I speak to guys who are actually the masculine energy, I'm able to talk to them in a way that goes, I really understand what it's like to be the masculine energy, because when I was the wife and a little bit chaotic in my feelings and up and down, I just expected my husband to deal with it and couldn't understand why he found it hard work. Then I went and got myself a wife and I went, holy moly, guys have no chance. Do you know, if you haven't been on the other side.
So our unique perspective is we can speak from both sides.
It's hard work, gentlemen, and I totally understand. Now, as some of my male clients have told me, I'm not all guy, and I'm definitely not. So there's a few items of guys that I'm not quite sure about when it comes to relationships and dealing with the opposite sex or dealing with the opposite energy. We're very good at that. If I was to draw a diagram, and you should be able to see this on the screen, what we're passionate about is helping individuals stand up for themselves. So what we find is a lot of people come to us knowing how to look after others. Do you know?
Well, can I say that we're passionate about people connecting to themselves because so many people want to connect to someone else. They want to connect to their partner. They want to connect to their business partner. They want to connect to their boss or their peers or their team. And a lot of angst is caused by, if I could just get people to understand me. And when people are trying to sort of, connect to someone else, what often happens is it falls down because they first haven't connected to themselves. If you can almost think about it like a PowerPoint, if you're trying to connect into this power source, it's never going to work if your own point of connection isn't nice and tight and sealed. So we're prolific around the whole looking after self.
Correct. Not to the point of being narcissistic though. So it's a real skill to learn to look after yourself very well, so well that you can effortlessly look after other people. So what we find is there are lots of individuals, particularly business owners, senior corporate execs, who are very good at looking after others, but they're gradually getting more and more tired themselves, or they're feeling more and more disconnected and they're not understanding why.
And the reason people do that is because most people in our age bracket, and certainly people older than us, when we were growing up, we were taught that it's good to look after other people. Make sure other people feel good. Make sure that they're happy, and then you can look after yourself. And we're guilty of it to a certain extent. We'd say to the kids, "No, don't take the biscuit off the tray first. Offer it to the guest."
Correct.
So it's this unconscious sort of modelling and way of teaching that we have to look after others first. But what happens when we get older, it actually starts to backfire and start eroding how we feel about it ourselves.
Correct. So some people have actually never learned to look after themselves as well. Like they really, when they were children, they were actually told to take a back step all the time. So they're very good at looking after the them and the us, but when it comes to the me almost doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. So it's a really important concept to understand. It doesn't matter where your starting point is, but it matters where we're looking to take you, okay, to be really solid around the me.
This is really important because, we find that when people focus on other people, it's almost this sort of hope that, well, if I continue to look after other people in time, then I will get to feel good. Yeah. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen in the majority of cases. In some cases, it does, but generally speaking, it doesn't. And then we find people like, that's so unfair. Yeah, and they feel resentful and they almost turn into like these martyrs. Like, hang on, I've looked after everyone else. Yep. Why isn't it coming back to me?
Conditional giving and the conditions aren't returned in the same way. Yeah, and that's because everyone's different, and we'll talk a little bit more about that down the track. I guess finally for this side, if you're already doing well and you want to extend your reach, it's just a matter of being able to get stronger and stronger within yourself so you can really push yourself out. So expanding your thinking expands your impact in the world. Now, when it comes to mindset, what I'd like to do now is just to take you into a bit of depth is exactly what is mindset in a more tangible fashion. And I like to look at it through the concept of business. Business works well for us, doesn't it? So if we look at business, there's two key parts of business. And the first one is that you need a business strategy.
You've got to have a strategy. You've got to have a plan. Okay, I'm going to do this, and that should sort of work out in business.
So you need a strategy, and you bring to that the skills of a team.
And your own skills.
Correct, and the skills of you as an individual. And when you bring the two together, in the middle where the overlap is, there's a potential for profit. Now, I like to talk about the business example, first of all, because profit is very clear. It's cash in the bank, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, but you all know some business owners who have a very similar strategy and very similar skills. And when you compare them to another business owner who's in pretty much the same bucket, one has made just a little bit of profit, and another has made a whole heap of profit.
And we all know people like this. Like, how come they've made a heap of money and how come they haven't, or how come I have and they haven't? Or,
Good, you could be one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. You could be someone that's made the money or not made the money.
So the difference comes down to the mindset of the individual running the business primarily, and also of the team members. But the mindset of the individual at the top of the business will determine the mindset of the individuals underneath.
And I would say that the people that do make more money here are the people that focus on the mindset. You know, there's a whole heap of business owners that think, well, I've got a good strategy, I've got a good skill set. When I mash them together, surely the business is going to work.
Nope.
But it's the ones that think, well, hang on, what is my thinking doing for me are the ones that succeed.
So if your mindset hasn't been good to date, your bank balance will tell you how good it's been. Never fear. Expand your thinking. Expand your ability to access that profit. So that's what we're here today to talk about, is how to expand your thinking. The reason why the material that we talk about works so well is it also works on a very personal level.
Can I just say on that, it's a story that you tell relatively regularly because it's such a good story. Nick did a whole heap of courses and things, you know, not that long ago, but and someone said to you, your mindset is limited.
Yeah. Brad Sugars, thank you.
Brad Sugars.
I was about 26 years old, so it's a few years ago. But he did tell me my mindset was limited. Now, at the time, I'm like, that's nice to hear, Brad, but how do I go about doing that? And that's why I read so much. But the problem with reading so many books is, if your mindset is limited, most of the information is not getting into your mindset because it's limited. So it's a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
Hence the work that we do today. Yeah. And the reason why it works so well is it works not only on the business side but also on the personal side. And at the end of the day, if you had the choice between $1 million and deep fulfilling happiness, you don't get both. You can have $1 million or deep fulfilling happiness. Although most people naturally unconsciously go for the $1 million, you're actually going to want the happiness. Yeah. So when you expand your mindset, you also expand your happiness. And the reason for that is, when we're youngsters, we are born with a strategy. Mum and dad give us a strategy. Between 0 to 7, we're looking at what mum and dad do, and we're either going to copy their strategy or do the opposite. So
yeah, but a general basic strategy for life is, well, I'll educate myself, I'll find a job, I'll meet a partner, perhaps we'll buy a house together, maybe we'll have some children. If we're doing well, we'll buy an investment property, we might be able to holiday and drive a relatively good car and have some friends, and that'll be it.
Correct.
You know, and hopefully there's enough money at the end to, you know, enjoy ourselves.
But once again, if we've got a limited mindset down here, then it's actually going to limit what we can do with our strategy and skills. So limited mindset, we'll see it's with a limited amount of profit. Expand the thinking, we'll talk in a minute, expand the amount of profit. So what is profit?
So profit in our personal life is feeling happy, having the capacity to love our partner, feeling energized, and then also being able to relax peacefully at the same, well, not at the same time, but being energized and being able to relax. And most important is that feeling of being fulfilled. Am I doing everything that I really believe that I'm capable of doing? Have I fulfilled my purpose?
Correct. Or if you're a competitive person, am I a winner in my own mind, or am I not a winner? So it depends on how you think as to how you're going to benchmark that. But I really like that personal one of, am I all that I thought I could be? Have I accessed all of my potential?
Oh yeah. I mean, personally, I remember years ago, you know, when the kids were really young, I used to say to people, I just want to be amazing. And people would go, oh, you already are amazing. I'm like, and it's the only language that I had, but it was this real feeling of, I want to be amazing and I'm not quite there yet. I had no idea what it was, but it was this feeling inside. And I would say that most people that want to change and want to have success in their life would feel that on some level.
Correct. I'll talk about a similar sort of feeling a bit later on, but same but different. So if we're able to expand our thinking, then we will expand our ability to access more love, more happiness, more of anything that we want in our life. So when it comes to expanding our mindset, what specifically does that mean? Do you know, what does it look like to actually expand our thinking? And the mindset evolution spectrum is what helps people to get a bit of a tangible example of what it is to be flexible in our thinking and how we look to actually expand our thinking.
Yeah, I think sometimes mindset can be this whole bit of a big idea, and it's hard for people to kind of get in and actually cut it up and understand it. Mindset is essentially just how well your thinking and your feeling actually works together to get the results
Correct.
that you want.
And it's the strategies and patterns that we run, yeah? But there are sort of different types of strategies and patterns that we all run, and some that we rely on more than others.
Yes, absolutely. As far as this goes, we've cut this up into
Different styles.
different styles.
Yeah.
Yep.
So and they go from rigid styles to very free-flowing styles, and we'll take you through them. So
And as Nick's just talking through them, just try and think, what level am I at? And also, if you can think, where's my partner or where's my boss, or because you'll start to go, I know someone like that.
what would people label me as? Do I think I'm actually that?
Yeah.
Good. So lowest level is dogmatic thinking. So dogmatic thinking is very my way or the highway. We have some stunningly successful entrepreneurs that we work with who are very dogmatic in their thinking, and the reason why they're successful is hyper-focused and very rigid, and nothing will distract them. Now that works to a point, but if the environment changes, then a dogmatic thinker's business can either crash and burn quite quickly, or it can plateau. So,
And that's because they don't change their thinking as the market
correct.
changes, or even before.
So we love working with dogmatic thinking. Anyone who can create success with very rigid thinking is impressive, and once you show them how to free up their thinking, they become even more impressive.
And did you say that they're pretty happy, but it's often the people around them?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. So dogmatic people are relatively happy within themselves because they think, well, no, what I'm doing is spot on. But it's the people around them are like, are you kidding me? This is so frustrating because I can't actually penetrate and get you to change your mind.
And we talked about the dogmatic guys earlier. So we talked about guys earlier who may not be connecting to their wives, and often this is what we find. Very good in business because they're so rigid in their thinking, they sort of free up a bit in business in the structure, but at home the rigidity comes out, and unhappy wife is the result.
Well, the rigidity stays.
I know we're being a bit generic there, but that's the stats would sway that way. Diligent thinking is the next level of thinking. Show me the steps 1, 2 and 3, and I just want to do them the right way. Very loyal, very right, wrong based.
And they like knowing the steps. So please just tell me what are your expectations of me? Just tell me what I need to do. Have a bit of a plan, and I'll follow that.
Great. Diligent thinkers are probably the biggest majority of the population, would fit into this category, where they rely, everyone's got all levels of thinking, so we all use all of them, but people rely on specific levels more than others.
And the idea is to not be reliant on one or two too much. We want to be able to traverse all of the levels, but really well and at a high level. Yeah.
Correct. Determined thinking is the next level of thinking. It's like diligent thinking. Show me steps 1, 2 and 3, but I'm going to do steps 4 and 5 and do them quicker and faster than the average bear, so that I can get ahead.
Yeah, and better. These people are like the diligent people in the fact that they like to do the right thing and they like to be rewarded for what they've done, but they're probably more likely to, maybe not happily, but they'll make a mistake in order to get the job done, whereas a diligent person will go, oh, I'm a bit too scared of making a mistake, so they stay.
Correct. They won't happily make a mistake, they'll unhappily make one, but they're willing to take the risk of making a mistake,
so they can get ahead.
Correct.
Yeah.
Diagnostic people is where people often sort of get to and they hit a bit of a ceiling, sort of almost a glass ceiling, yeah? So diagnostic is looking back or looking to the side and going, I don't understand why I'm not further ahead. So if you've looked at your life and gone, I thought I'd be further ahead by now, I thought I'd be in a bigger job or have a bigger business, or I'd be in a relationship by now.
Or even just things like you get to the end of the year and you go, oh, I really thought I'd be fitter by now. I really thought I'd be happier by now. I really thought I would have saved more money this year, because that's what I keep saying. Or, sort of just looking back going, really? Like, why aren't I where I thought that I would be?
Right. So that's the thinking where people, as I say, often cap out, and what they do is they go to the external. We'll talk about that more in a minute, but they actually hit that line of thinking and they think, I just need to either change my jobs, maybe change my partners, or go on a holiday, create a plan and come back, and next year I'll do something different. But what happens
or buy a new car, or when the tax return comes in, or when the bonus gets paid, any of those things.
Correct. But they just create that new plan or do that new item, and they take it into the same way of thinking. So same thinking, different place.
That's like what you were saying before with your story with the mindset. You're coming back and you're reading the books, but you've still got the same mindset reading the books. So you're taking your same level of thinking, implementing the new plan, and you do the new plan with more determination because you've got some awareness now. And that just leads to
incremental changes, but it doesn't feel that good. And if you're going, you're speaking you're speaking like you are me. I know. I've been there. I've done it. I did the loop for about 7 years in a row. Yeah?
And this is really tiring. Staying in these bottom levels
exhausting.
of mindset, exhausting, because it's push, push, push. I think I can do better. Let's try it again. I'm still tired.
Great. So the primary work that we do is we show logical thinkers, because anyone who's stuck below the line, if you're thinking that's me, then you're over relying on your logic. Yeah. So we take logical thinkers and we show them how to go above the line. Yeah. Now above the line is a totally different place. And feelers, anyone who considers themselves to be a feeler, you'll know about this space. So being expansive is the ability to ask the question, what else? What feels like an illogical period of time. Yeah. So a determined thinker will come up with one good idea, and as soon as they've come up with a good idea, they'll implement it, because the worst thing a determined thinker can be seen to be doing is nothing. Yeah. So they implement the idea and keep moving forward as quickly as they can. An expansive thinker goes, okay, I've got one good idea, but I've got to come up with at least 2 more because I want some choice, do you know? And a determined thinker's going, choice, it's not about choice, it's about getting the job done.
Expansive feelers or thinkers, they wait until something feels good. If it doesn't feel good, they go, well, no, I'm not doing that.
Correct.
That makes no sense to logical people.
That's a truly expansive thinker. So once you're in the flow and you're really good, yeah. And often we find that some individuals can do that well in work, but when they come home, they're much more determined and just want to get things done. So the benefit of being an expansive thinker and doing nothing until you've come up with a number of good logical ideas is that you get the chance to be embracive. And an embracive individual is someone who did just what Yolan suggested, and they basically choose the one that feels best to them. Yeah. So a truly expansive thinker doesn't do anything until one feels really good.
But the good thing with this is they'll choose an option based on how they feel.
Correct.
That feels good. And then if it doesn't feel good anymore, they just go, all right, well, I'll just happily let that go, and I'll wait until something else feels good.
Correct. A determined person, if they choose an option, their sense of self is on that option.
I've chosen that now. I better stay with it. And I'm holding on right to the end.
If it doesn't work, then I feel personally challenged by it. Whereas a truly embracive thinker, they're not that fussed about the outcome. They understand that they've made the best choice that they can. They've felt into it. If they need to tweak it or totally change their viewpoint, they can.
They can.
Yeah.
Yep.
Evolved is the last level, and evolved is basically when we've done that loop of being expansive and embracive, and we've actually moved through a new challenge. That challenge could be as simple as learning to communicate with your partner, or it could be as complex as taking a company to the next level or going global. It doesn't matter how big the challenge is, but that's the type of evolution that we're looking at.
It's essentially the problems that were the problems in the past are no longer the problems now.
Correct.
Because your thinking has shifted to the point that the problems they don't plague you like they used to.
Exactly. So what we want to be able to do is be able to consciously evolve, and that's what we're going to talk to you about from here on, is what is the framework, what's the structure that's going to be able to see you to continuously, consciously evolve your thinking.
Just on that, you know, the people that we speak to will often go, when we explain this, they're like, oh God, to not have the problems that I had 6 months ago or 12 months ago, I've had these problems for years upon years upon years. I haven't been able to evolve past the problem, and that's what this shows you how to do.
Correct. Now we know about mindset, that it's important to expand it, and we know about the mindset spectrum and the fact that we need to have lots of different thinking styles, from the rigid thinking to the very free-flowing and expansive and abrasive thinking. But how do we actually do that?